Hello and welcome to the Parallel exhibition. I thank you for your interest and hope you enjoy this verbal descriptive tour. I've sought to educate myself as to learn the best possible way of delivering this verbal descriptive tour to make this exhibition as inclusive and accessible as possible. As I am the artist, I'm also sharing other insights about the photographs and their pairings that otherwise would not be available to a person providing a verbal description of this exhibition. I welcome your feedback, positive and constructive, so that I can ensure I'm delivering a useful and respectful tool for a person who is blind or a person with low vision or vision impairment so that they can continue to engage with the arts. All images are a diptych or pair of photographs, one being from the local 2259 postcode area and the other taken somewhere else around the world. There is a black matting around each photograph, and the name of the location where the photograph was taken is written beneath each photograph. All images are 60 centimetres by 40 centimetres, with some being landscape orientation for the pair of portrait orientation images, and the other being a portrait orientation for landscape orientation images. These are printed on acrylic, meaning that they are frameless and highly reflective. The gallery room at A To Zen is flooded with natural light, given a large window at the front of the store. As you are standing at the entry door to the gallery room, the large window is to your left. The walls in the room are all painted gold. The images appear to be floating due to the gold chain affixed to a high ceiling holding the images in place. 1. Wyong and Los Angeles. The first image of the Parallel exhibition is of Wyong on the New South Wales Central Coast and downtown Los Angeles in California, the United States of America. This is a portrait-orientated image featuring two landscape-orientated photographs. The photograph from Wyong is at the top with the photograph of Los Angeles on the bottom. The Wyong photograph is of a white painted brick building with a moss-covered red-tiled roof, set to the left of the frame. The foreground contains scraggly brown and yellowy green grass with patches of dirt throughout. It appears that it has been damp, which stands to reason given the photograph was captured in July when there was not quite enough heat in the sun to dry out moisture from any rain or heavy dew. The yellowish grass fills the bottom half of the frame with a hint of blue skies behind fine clouds. All of this is behind a chain link fence, with the diamond shapes serving to form a series of smaller frames. Shooting this image, it was noisy, given the Pacific Highway runs along the right-hand side of the image, with a steady stream of cars and trucks crawling past the site as they proceed through the town of Wyong at 50 kilometres an hour. It was around midday on a chilly July day. The parallel image, located at the bottom of the image, is of a grey multi-storey building with a large mural on the side containing the images of Sidney Poitier and Judy Garland in bright splashes of orange, pink and blue. The bottom of the mural is filled with the words "The City of Angels" in mixed fonts, including some seeking to replicate neon signs and venue display signs of years gone by. They've been painted to appear to be revealing layers of lettering and icons and faces throughout the past. Around each of the portraits and the wording are various smaller images that pay homage to Los Angeles, including references to the LA Dodgers, white and yellow daffodils, skateboarding, tall palm trees, waves, muscle cars, rappers, etc. To the right of the building and mural is the tall, white, round Capitol Records building with a white spire and American flag perched on top. The bottom third of the image is filled with a greyish cream car park, which is empty except for two vehicles and a single figure dressed in black walking towards the left of the frame. A light blue sky disguises the typically smog-filled Los Angeles sky. All of this is behind a chain link fence, with the diamond shapes framing smaller sections of the overall scene. Like the Wyong image, the bustling Hollywood Boulevard hummed behind me as I took this photograph. It was a warm October morning in California. The commonality or theme across this pair of photographs is them both being shot through the chain link fence. While it's possible to enjoy both images without immediately being aware of the fence as present, there is a point where you feel the fence more than you actually see it. 2. Wyong and Watts. The second image of the parallel exhibition is Wyong, New South Wales Central Coast, and Watts, Los Angeles, United States of America. This is a landscape-orientated image featuring two portrait-orientated photographs. The photograph from Wyong is to the left and the photograph from Watts is to the right. The Wyong photograph features a single tower atop a square brick building, which is the Wyong Telecommunications Exchange. The foreground of the image features the old Wyong Police Station, which is a dark brick cottage-style building with a white corrugated iron roof set behind a white picket fence. The tower is a prominent feature of the skyline with an assortment of large rectangular and small square mobile phone transmission points located around the top of the tower. The sky, taking up the top half of the image, is blue and punctuated by wispy and puffy light grey clouds. The street is quiet, but the hum of the Pacific Highway is still audible. The photograph was again taken around midday on a cold July day. The Watts photograph features 4 of the Watts Towers, or Towers of Simon Rodier, which are part of a larger art installation of 17 interconnected sculptural towers. These towers appear to be made of wire or metal due to their industrial construction, bracing, form and finish, but upon closer inspection are actually concrete wrapped in wire mesh and covered in mosaic tiles. All of the towers have a wider base than their top, but they vary in their shape and height. The tallest of the towers, which is 30 metres tall, is located to the right of the photograph. It is slightly bulbous in the middle and the spire straightens out beyond the top third of the tower. There are a series of rings around the tower which initially appear to be like barbed wire in its texture and the manner in which it's been wrapped around the tower in a messy type of way. It's not symmetrical or orderly at all. The second tallest tower is in the middle of the frame, and while this tower is slightly shorter than the tallest, it's a different shape with a more uniform, angular and straight type of shape. The inside of the tower this time is filled with tendrils covered in wire, almost stuffing the tower from within rather than wrapping around the outside, as was with the first tower. The exception is of a single outer grouping of rings in the lower quarter of this tower. The third tallest tower is set to the left of the second tower and is approximately half the height of the 2 taller towers. It is angled and straight like the second tower and is attached to the second tower by a series of curved upwards crossbars which feature ornate kind of heart shapes and circles, which are they're reminiscent of old decorative metal fences, gates and window grills from the 50s and 60s. At the far left of the frame is the smallest tower, which is less than half the height of the third tower, and is more organic in its shaping, made up predominantly of curved sections, spheres, and rocket ship-like sections. These towers are surrounded by a tall, white steel fence that's approximately 2 metres tall, and this is featured at the bottom of the photograph. The light blue sky makes up the top 7/8 of the image, showcasing the height and intricacy of the towers. It was mid-afternoon when the photograph was taken, and with the sun setting to the right, stripping sunlight from the mosaic tiles on the concrete towers makes them appear to be more industrial and more metallic in their form. As the sun set, the heat of the day in the Californian sun began to subside, A helicopter overhead and sounds of sirens not too far away prompted our guide to load us back into the tour bus and head to our next destination. The commonality or theme across this pair of photographs are towers, the tall spires piercing the muted blue skies of Wyong and Watts. 3. Wyong and San Francisco. The third image of the parallel exhibition is Wyong on the New South Wales Central Coast and San Francisco, California, the United States of America. This is a portrait-orientated image featuring two landscape-orientated photographs. The photograph from Wyong is at the top of the frame and the image from San Francisco is at the bottom. The image from Wyong features a shop front of a restaurant, to the left a red door and to the right a yellow door. In the foreground there is a slither of the bitumen road, which is the Pacific Highway, and above this reddish pavers line the footpath in front of the shop front. On this footpath to the left of the red door is a brown metal bollard. Located on the footpath to the right of the red door is an A-frame sign, but due to its location, the content is only readable by people walking on the footpath. Along the bottom of the shop front are dark brown mottled tiles and are quite possibly the original tiles from when the building was built. The large windows of the shop front are highly reflective, reflecting back the trees across the street, meaning the inside of the restaurant is not visible in the photograph. The red door is nestled to the right of the leftmost window, and the yellow door is set to the right of the rightmost window. The yellow door features a black and white angular awning above the door. Along the top of the front windows are rectangular sections of fluted glass, which reflects the light from within the restaurant. Above the fluted glass is a thin white sign with the restaurant name Osteria Armano in a flowing handwritten font. To the right of this, in uppercase block letters and set against a red, white and green background, are the words Traditional Italian Restaurant. The bottom photograph, an image from San Francisco, features a residential building with a blue door to the left and a yellow door to the right. The footpath in the foreground of the photograph is a light, almost white concrete. The colour, texture and materials extend beyond the footpath up 2 steps into the front stoop of the 2 doors. As a safety measure, either side of the steps are symmetrical black metal balustrades with tubular handrails wrapping around the entry to the steps and along the front of the balustrades. The left-hand side of the stoop in front of the blue door features an assortment of plants with large green leaves. The mishmash of brown plastic pots and faded wooden planter, as well as the weedy assortment of plants, are lively but unkept. The balustrade to the right, in front of the yellow door, comically dwarfs a single small plant, which at first impression is a bonsai-type plant. Symmetrically, either side of the stoop and balustrades are sandstone-coloured, curvaceous planter boxes which do not contain signs of life. Above the planter boxes are thin white rectangular windows with thin white Venetian blinds lining the inside. Dominating the centre of the photograph is the dark chocolate brown, almost black exterior of the building in a smooth concrete finish. A concave arch frames the stoop and in turn the blue and yellow entry doors. Each colourful entry door is framed by a simple white door frame across the sides and top. At the very top of the frame remains a single string of Christmas lights draped unevenly across the left-hand side of the building exterior, but disappearing at the middle of the building exterior. The colourful doors, especially the yellow doors in each photograph, are the commonality or theme across both of these images. 4. Wyong and Old Phuket Town. The fourth image in the parallel exhibition is Wyong, New South Wales, Australia, and Mueang Phuket or Old Phuket Town in Thailand. This is a landscape-orientated image featuring two portrait-orientated photographs. The photograph from Wyong is to the left and the photograph from Muyang is to the right. The photograph from Wyong contains a winter bushland scene. A large tree with twin large trunks runs along the left-hand side of the image from the middle of the frame beyond the very top of the image. The background contains other large shrubs and trees in various shades of muted, dark and brownish greens. There are small patches of a pale blue sky obscured by the dense trees and shrubs. Along the right-hand side of the frame is a scruffy yellowish-green plant. The foreground of the image, the bottom half of the frame, is filled with brown and yellow leaves fallen from the many trees in the area. It is only for the simple wooden handrail along the left-hand side of the frame that it becomes apparent the foreground is a wide footbridge. In the middle of the image and at the end of the footbridge are 5 large concrete rectangular bollards staggered in an arrangement of 3 at the front and 2 at the back, but in such a way as there are no spaces visible between each large block bollard. Each large block is painted a bright colour, with the leftmost being a vibrant blue. The block has muddy marks along the bottom of its front. To the right of this is a bright green painted block with a black waved line drawn through the middle of the front face. To its right is a canary yellow block. To the right of this is a rich orange painted block, and the last block, furthest to the right of the collection, is a Barbie pink painted block bollard. There is a strange harmony of the natural environment with these angular, ordered, brightly coloured blocks. The second photograph to the right of the image is Old Phuket Town. The foreground of the image is a charcoal-coloured bitumen road with a manhole to the left of the image. Toward the middle of the image is a white sedan, modern but rather nondescript. The white sedan is parked in front of a 2-storey white building. On the ground floor of the building there are 2 different shutters or doors which are set back from the front of the building, meaning there is a small tiled area under cover beneath the first floor of the building. The shutters to the left are a series of brown, uniform, tall rectangles, with the outline of each rectangle being a creamy colour. The shutters to the right are more of a concertina-style shutter and are joined by a large padlock. On the white pillar at the front of the building is a blue and yellow sign which states 11-2 & Co. Phuket Old Town. There are a series of security cameras and power wires running along the front of the building, along the line between the ground and the first floor. The first floor there are 6 rectangular doors, with a semicircle decorative feature fanning above the top of each rectangular door. Each door and semicircle are painted a vibrant colour, with the leftmost door being an orangey red, then moving to the right is a bright buttery yellow door, then a vibrant green door, then a bright blue door, followed by a dark but still vibrant blue door, and with the rightmost door being a magenta colour. There is a slim rectangular patch of blue sky with some patchy clouds at the very top of the photo. The commonality between these photographs are the vibrant rectangular shapes within each frame. 5. Wyong and Modena. The 5th image in the parallel exhibition is Wyong, New South Wales, Australia, and Modena in the Emilia-Romagna region of Italy. It is a portrait-orientated image featuring 2 landscape-orientated photographs. The photograph from Wyong is at the top, with the photograph from Modena at the bottom. The Wyong photograph is the front of the Central Coast Council chambers, which is a retro 1950s, 1960s angular cream brick building with a flat metal roof and rectangular shutter-looking awnings on each window. Along the front or the foreground of the frame, there are 2 rows of a sandstone-looking block, with these being a yellower tone than the bricks used in the building. In what appears to be a modern renovation of this building is a modern glass addition whose convex curves and glass and metal fabrication envelope the front of the building and seem to sit at odds with the angular retro brick building. The lines of the two parts of the building meet and form a triangular shape of the clear blue sky at the top of the frame. The photograph of Modena features a terracotta brick building to the left of the frame. The gable pitch roof of this brick building tapers off to the left of the frame. A window with a curved top sits at the centre of this building under the peak of the roof. From the right, across the middle of the frame, is a concave curved glass building containing a series of smaller rectangular glass panels. The roof of the glass curved building is not visible, but there is a yellow gutter or topper which runs along the top of the curve. The lines of the two buildings form a triangular shape of the blue cloud-filled sky. The commonalities of these photographs include the modern concave and convex curved glass building set beside or against older brick buildings. 6. Wyong and Patong Beach. The sixth image of the parallel exhibition is Wyong, New South Wales, Australia, and Patong Beach, Phuket, Thailand. This is a portrait-orientated image featuring two landscape-orientated pictures. The photograph from Wyong is at the top of the image and the photograph from Patong Beach is at the bottom. The photograph from Wyong is simple in its composition. A reddish speckled brick building with two triangular peaks of a double gable roof fills much of the frame. A robust angled chimney is perched atop of the leftmost peak. There are circular features within the brickwork slightly below the ridge of the roof and two circular downpipes that run parallel from the middle of the frame and at the right of the frame. There are two windows on the large, flat brick wall, but these differ in size, shape and style and do not sit symmetrically in relation to the roof peaks or ridges or the decorative circles on the building. The background is filled with an azure blue sky. There are faint streaks of cloud slightly marbling the sky. The photograph from Patong Beach, while simple in its composition, is far busier and noisier. The two peaks of the double gable roof and front face of the building fills most of the frame. The building exterior is lined with horizontal pieces of wood, assorted sizes and colours, also corrugated iron in assorted colours, with sections of white which have been weathered and aged and have now turned reddish due to rust taking over the surface. There's large blue and black graffiti letters covering much of the left front of the building. In the foreground at the bottom of the building are also assorted pieces of wood, some of which falling down partially or completely. A weathered door is visible at the front right of the building, but it is unclear if this is functional or simply used to line the front of the building as the other materials do. Behind the building in the background of the image is a pale blue sky due to thin cloud cover. There are some tall tree tops emerging behind the two roof ridges of the building. The commonality between these photographs are the buildings with their twin triangular gable peaks. 7. Wyong and Yosemite National Park. The seventh image of the parallel exhibition is Wyong, New South Wales, Australia, and Yosemite National Park, California, United States of America. This is a landscape-orientated image featuring two portrait-orientated photographs. The photograph from Wyong is to the left and the photograph from Yosemite National Park is to the right. The photograph of Wyong features rich autumnal tones of red, orange and brown. The foreground is filled with assorted leaves, twigs and foliage. This takes up the bottom third of the frame. There is a small creek or body of water which is wide at the right of the frame, then as you move across the frame to the left, narrows and disappears behind a cluster of shrubs and grasses. The water reflects the plants on the bank behind. The cluster of shrubs to the left of the frame have dark brown, almost black trunks and an assortment of thinning leaves in orange, yellow and green. This shrub fills the top 2/3 of the frame and obscures the sky. Behind the body of water in the top third of the frame on the right-hand side are some other trees, shrubs and branches. the details of which are partially obscured by branches and foliage in the foreground. The photograph of Yosemite National Park contains a foreground of brown dirt and pine needles. The frame is filled with trunks of dozens of pine trees, with the tops not quite visible. There are greenish tones throughout the middle of the frame, but it is difficult to make out leaves or foliage due to the thin stick-like branches extending off the rough tree trunks. There is a burst of orange foliage in the middle of the frame, approximately 2/5 from the bottom of the frame. The sky is not visible due to the branches and foliage, but there is a bright section of lens flare at the very top of the frame. The brightness of the sun casts a variety of shadows on the forest floor. The commonality of these photographs are more the tones and feels of the image than the composition or other characteristics as are present in other images from the parallel series. 8. Wyong and Crenshaw. The eighth image of the parallel exhibition is Wyong on the New South Wales Central Coast, Australia, and Crenshaw, Los Angeles, California, in the United States of America. This is a portrait-orientated image featuring two landscape-orientated photographs. The photograph from Wyong is at the top, with the photograph from Crenshaw at the bottom. The photograph from Wyong features a series of horizontal slices in the foreground, starting with the bitumen road at the very bottom of the frame, then the gutter of the road, then the footpath. The footpath is busy, featuring assorted A-frame signs advertising pies and ice creams, a green Sulo garbage bin, a black jogger-style pram, and a bicycle leaning against the front right corner of a dilapidated green building with light greenish accents and trims. A 2-hour parking and no stopping sign leans into the frame in the same way as a person on the edge of a group leans in for a photograph. Large black block letters reading General Store appear on the front awning, with these being framed by two Coca-Cola signs also on the awning. The front gutter of the building is starting to fall down and partially obstructs the word store. The roof of the awning slopes downwards towards the road and is green corrugated iron. There is a red V-shaped sign on the top of this corrugated iron awning which is advertising oat milk. The V is centred with the ridge or gable of the roof. There is a large yellowish green tree to the top of the building, top left of the building, with its vast canopy filling much of the left corner of the frame. The sky in the background features clouds in assorted shapes and textures, with some small sections of blue sky breaking out from behind the clouds. The photograph from Crenshaw contains a dark sedan-style vehicle in the foreground, which partially obscures the footpath in the foreground. A large Sulo-style bin sits on the footpath slightly to the right of the vehicle and in front of the entry to the building. The footpath also homes a 2-hour parking sign and a mid-sized tree. The green foliage from the tree fills the top left-hand side of the frame. The remainder of the frame is taken up by a deco-style cream building with green awning sloping towards the footpath. There are red letters TORE peeking out from behind the leaves of the tree. From the signs in the front window, it is apparent that this is a general store. There are 7 humans visible in the frame, 3 entering the store through the doorway, and 1 exiting the store doorway. 1 figure is exiting the frame to the right, carrying dry cleaning, and 2 figures are at the front left of the doorway. The commonalities between these 2 photographs include the theme of the general store, the colours and awnings of the buildings, and the green tree foliage filling the top left of the frame. 9. Wyong and Kanchanaburi. The 9th image of the parallel exhibition is Wyong, New South Wales, Australia, and Kanchanaburi, Thailand. This is a landscape-orientated image featuring 2 portrait-orientated photographs. The photograph from Wyong is to the left and the photograph from Kanchanaburi to the right. The photograph from Wyong features a foreground of lush ferns, reeds and grasses. In the bottom left of the frame, there is a glimpse of water, which is the Wyong River. There is a tall shrub which fills the left side 2/3 of the frame. On the right-hand side of the frame, starting at the top right-hand corner and moving diagonally down towards the middle of the frame, are the metal bases and balustrades of a railway bridge. This features light blue patches with extensive patches of rust peeking through faded paintwork. There are rivets running along the top and bottom solid edges of the metal bridge. Towards the centre of the frame, to the right of the frame, is a huge rectangular concrete pillar which is supporting the bridge above. In the top left of the frame is a large triangular section of light blue sky with wispy clouds fanning upwards and to the left. The photograph from Kanchanaburi features a foreground and bottom half of the photograph of the water of the Kwai Yai River, with leaves and water plants present. On the right-hand side of the frame, starting at the top right-hand corner and moving diagonally down towards the middle of the frame, are the metal base and balustrade of a railway bridge. They are curved and angled brown steel supports. Emerging from the water in the middle of the frame and moving to the left of the frame are a series of large curved cement pillars, the tops of which fanning out to support the full width of the steel railway bridge above. A cloud-filled sky with small patches of blue peeking through sits behind the bridge at the top of the frame. To the right of the frame above the water are a series of modern buildings which vary in shape from rectangular to triangular. The commonalities between these photographs are the direction and perspective of the bridges, the way they sit within the frame and fade towards the left. They are both rail bridges, though have drastically different functions and histories. The bridge in Kanchanaburi is also known as the Bridge over the River Kwai and forms part of the Burma Railway, also known as the Siam-Burma Railway and Death Railway. It is a prominent part of Australian military history. (10) Hamlin Terrace and Dubai. The 10th image of the parallel exhibition is Hamlin Terrace, New South Wales, Australia, and Palm Jumeirah, Dubai, United Arab Emirates. This is a portrait-orientated image featuring two landscape-orientated photographs. The photograph from Hamlin Terrace is at the top of the image, and the one from Palm Jumeirah is at the bottom. The photograph of Hamlin Terrace can be divided in half, down the middle, top to bottom. The left-hand side of the frame features a multi-lane road which angles from the bottom left upwards towards the right, where the road disappears into the horizon, which is met by a cloud-filled sky. There is a thick metal guardrail running along the side of the road, with this separating the road from the pedestrian access running down the middle of the frame. The right-hand side of the frame features an assortment of shrubs and weeds and grasses in various shades of green, from yellow to forest green. The sky is barely visible behind the tall shrubs extending into the top of the frame. In the foreground there is a rectangular, vibrant blue sign which reads Central Coast Council, Hamlin Terrace. The rectangular sign is affixed to the ground by two rectangular posts. The photograph of Palm Jumeirah is a very similar composition to the Hamlin Terrace image, with the road disappearing into the horizon towards the centre of the frame. In the Palm Jumeirah photograph, there are multi-storey, stony beige-coloured buildings lining the road and framing the image, with the line of the buildings following the road towards the horizon in the centre of the frame. The position of the rectangular forest green and beige sign is in a similar position to the Hamlin Terrace sign in the first photograph. The forest green sign contains Arabic writing on the top line and the English translation, Exit all routes, on the second line. There are three small shrubs, their trunks slender and warped. There is a large crop of dark green leaves which fills the top of the frame above the road. The photograph of Hamlin Terrace was the first image which kick-started the parallel series as a concept. It was initially matched with a photograph from Patong Beach, Phuket, which had a blue tsunami escape route sign on a telegraph post with the road tapering away in a similar direction. But after returning from our trip to Dubai in April 2024, it was decided that the Palm Jumeirah photo was an even better match due to the shape, size and placement of the sign and the perspective of the road. Compositionally, these two images are some of the most similar throughout the parallel series. It is amazing to think they were taken over 12,000 kilometres away from each other. 11. Doyleson North and Naples. The 11th image of the parallel exhibition is Doyleson North, New South Wales, Australia, and Naples, Campania region of Italy. It is a landscape-orientated image featuring two portrait-orientated photographs. The photograph from Doyleson North is to the left and the photograph from Naples is to the right. The photograph of Doyleson North features a small, single-storey, whitish cream-coloured building with a gable roof. The front of the building is lined with ageing masonite, wooden boards and corrugated iron. There is a glimpse of a tall grey colorbond fence to the right. There are a number of signs affixed to the front of the building. The topmost, centred to the peak of the roof, reads, "Nankang tyres sold here." The text is black font with the word tyres in painted red. Beneath that, slightly to the right, reads Johnny's Tyre Service. Johnny's is in a blue cursive font with Tyre Service in red bold block letters. Under the awning attached to the front of the building is a sign with thin block font which reads New and Used Batteries Sold Here. The building fascia, awning and post holding the awning are all a vibrant blue colour. In the foreground there are a number of yellow lines, some to indicate the difference in levels of concrete between the foreground and the front stoop of the building. Also yellow are the handrails leading from the front stoop to the building doorway, and there are two yellow shelf-like sections between the vertical post holding the front awning and the handrails. This photograph is busy when observed in detail, despite initially appearing to be quite simple. There is a small patch of green grass to the left of the foreground, with a wooden power pole to the left, slightly leaning out of the frame. Much of the frame is filled with a light blue sky, with large patch of cloud in the top right of the frame, and smaller sections of clouds dispersed throughout. The photograph from Naples features a similar scale kiosk building with a flat roof. The front fascia of the roof, in the centre are the words Casa Mia in white font on a vibrant blue background. To the left and right of this are two red rectangles with white font which reads Quattremura. Beneath this fascia, on what appears to be a white fabric awning, reads Souvenir in thin block letters. The body of the building is completely covered in graffiti, with a predominantly red background, bright blue bubbly graffiti letters DFL. There are yellow bubbles throughout the midsection of the body of the building. The words Dirty for Love appear in thin caps letters. The base of the kiosk building is a vibrant blue colour, which also features graffiti tags in white and yellow spray paint. To the right of the building, leaning into the frame, is a light post. The background of the photo features angular, ageing, multi-storey buildings with an array of balconies smattered across their faces. A cloudless light blue sky fills the remaining background of the frame. The commonalities of these photographs are the scale and colour of the buildings. 12. Tuggerah and Sayok. The 12th image of the parallel exhibition is Tuggerah, New South Wales, Australia, and Sayok, Kanchanaburi, Thailand. This is a portrait-orientated image featuring two landscape-orientated photographs. The photograph from Tuggerah is at the top, with the photograph of Sayok at the bottom. The photograph of Tuggerah is of a rolling fields and hills. The short greeny yellow grasses and small shrubs create a carpet-like effect. The grass and brownish shrubs lining the hill take up just over half the frame. A tall, skinny juvenile tree stands to the left of the frame. A telegraph pole stands to the right of the frame, with the branches of a tree just peeking into the frame on the rightmost side of the frame. The top part of the frame is filled with light blue sky with wispy wind-blown clouds. The photograph from Sayok features a foreground of lush tropical trees and plants in various shades of green. The trees and plants extend to meet a series of small mountain peaks in shades of reddish brown. The trees, plants and mountain peaks take up about 2/3 of the frame. To the left of the frame is a tall, slender, stick-like tree which may or may not still be alive. To the right of the frame is a tall, skinny juvenile tree. The top part of the frame is filled with a vibrant blue sky with light fluffy clouds close to the horizon, with some wispy clouds spreading across the remainder of the sky. The photograph from Sayok was taken from the Hellfire Pass Interpretive Centre, and the mountains in the background extend beyond Thailand and into Myanmar. The commonalities of these photos include the composition and colours. This concludes this verbal descriptive tour of the Parallel exhibition. I hope you enjoyed this and were able to engage with the images. I welcome any feedback in relation to this tour, and thank you again for taking the time to visit.